Metrolink. I'd like to thank the Escapic Law Group, Martin. And I'd also like to thank the Chenard Foundation and Fender Music Instruments. Is that how I say it?
That is how you do it.
So without folks like that, this is much more difficult than it could be. So we really appreciate their support. This show is sort of unique because it was a collaborative effort between folks from the community and staff from the museum. So it was kind of a community-oriented curatorial project, which I thought was something that was very interesting to do. As we're trying to sort of really engage, firsthand with folks in Claremont and beyond, this seemed like a very interesting project to do. So under the sort of exhibition leadership of Seth Pringle, who is our Director of Exhibition, we brought in some wild young guys, Mike Kotzen and Martin Maudal, who had actually done a reiteration, a couple of years of this type of show, right, that you guys put together.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
And they're going to talk about that in a little bit here. And
Oh, we
so,
are?
Yeah, you guys are.
Okay.
That's why you're wearing the fuzzy thing.
I wondered what that was for.
So yeah, Seth is the one who sort of gathered everybody together and made this thing come together in this incredible way in the design of the show and so on. And we worked all together as a team and really kind of brought this together, which is really exciting. Because that can go in a lot of different directions, believe me. So, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'd also like to say that we have some amazing board members here with us. If you guys want to raise your hand, I'm not going to name everybody's name, but these are the folks. I'm just saying nice things about you, Mark. Thank you. These are the folks that make it happen for all of you in Claremont. So thank them when you can. Everybody's got a name tag on, so we really appreciate that. Yes.
While you're here, why don't you mention May 3rd Sound Formations Live?
Oh, we will.
Oh, yeah.
Making sure
So-
you vocalize that. Yes.
What you have here is part one. And in a month, a little less than a month, we're going to do part two of this show, which is Sound Formations Live. We're going to bring together all the musicians and all the folks that are sort of surrounding this exercise, and we're going to have a concert. It's going to be from 4 to 9, or thereabouts.
What day?
It could be like 9:30, something, however it goes.
May 3rd.
May 3rd, so the art walk on May 3rd, out front here,
Free.
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 For kids
Free for
and
you
families.
guys. And which we should also mention that Arcade Diversified Entertainment, which is a local music company of great repute, is also sponsoring Sound Formations Live. So we appreciate that very much too. Ray's here in the room, I don't know, maybe later. But, so
Hope he
that's going to
says.
be the thing to see. You're going to see people playing instruments that you've never seen them do before, and you're going to see things that you've never seen before. Amps for Christ is going to play. I don't think they've ever played in Claremont. And things like this that are just totally unique to our town here. And so it's a must go. It'll be the once in a lifetime experience, right?
Right.
And if we can keep it all organized and on track, that's the thing to watch for. And that might not be the case. So, but without further ado, I'd like to introduce Martin Maudal and Mike Kotzen. And they're going to talk a little bit about how they envisioned this, like, what, back in 2003 it was?
Something like that, yeah.
About that.
And that's how we kind of came to that. I saw that way back when. I thought, gee, that's a pretty good idea. And I parked it in the back of the brain. And then, we brought it back. So I appreciate you guys for doing this. And take it away.
Well, we certainly appreciate the opportunity to bring it to this level.
Absolutely.
It's like kicked it up a couple notches. But
Yeah.
I think if you want to talk about the very first one we did at the Dog Gallery and how that came about.
Well, I had been working with Chris Tuvey on his tree crew. Chris Tuvius, as many of you will know, was very deeply involved with DAW for many, many, many years, and the whole art thing down in Pomona. And, I just was, we cut down a tree, and it was a shame, but it was leaning over somebody's house, or for whatever reason, it was diseased, something. And I'd keep the wood instead of burning it in somebody's fireplace, and they always kind of laughed at me a little bit, and I was like, no, man, look at this. And I showed Chris a couple of times what this wood really looked like on the inside, and he was like, yeah, okay. And I was talking to him about it, and the way that it really came about was not just one person's idea of doing something. This is when I thought of Mike, who I've grew up with. We went to high school together and stuff, and Mike builds his cajones, and I was like, if we could get together and bring a bunch of other people together into this show with a bunch of different kinds of instruments and different visions and things like that, it would be a lot of fun, especially if with Mike's drums, people could just jam out. And they did. They were by far the loudest, highest energy, openings that DAW had ever seen. We managed to do what, three?
Four of them, actually.
Four of them. Yep. And I mean, just super, super fun. And so, this is, you guys are going to have to kick it up a notch to match one of the DAW things. Get on those drums. That's what they're there for, So, Mike, you say something.
Sure. So we had so much fun doing that first show at the DAW that we brought it back a couple times and sort of made it the biennial. And like I said, we did 4 of them there, and each time it grew a little bit, and we invited more people to collaborate with us, and had people like Rebecca Ham jam with us, and she's an amazing musician. Mm-hmm. And so many people from this community participated, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when Martin asked us if we would like to bring it here, I mean, that was a huge honor. And we decided, okay, we need to really kick this up and find some other folks that haven't ever done this with us before. And talking to Warren Shingleton, he and Martin
that piece
both
right
knew
there.
Otto, who's right here, and Otto's guitars. They certainly brought it up a couple notches. And Chris Erickson, who's right here, who's a fantastic ceramic artist. She did her shakers, but again, brought them up a couple of notches. So this venue just helped us all bring it up a bit, and we're so thrilled that you're all here to share it with us. And we hope you can come back next month to see the musical instruments being played.
That was one of the things that we thought was really, really important, because they're not complete unless you hear them. It's a mixed media sculpture until somebody plays it. And so we wanted to make sure that this time, I mentioned the mayhem that was happening. There was maybe a little bit too much, because we'd have somebody come up and try to play, but other people are out there jamming away on the drums in the other room, and it was all kind of chaotic and still huge fun. But this time, we figured a month was enough time to separate, so that when we actually do the show itself, the focus could be on that, and the fact that you guys were willing to do that, and Ray Woodbury from RKDE too, totally giving us the production, level that will allow us.
Everybody deserves it.
Well, I don't want to say deserve, but boy, did we crave it. Because it's like,
Okay, then everybody craves.
you crave. I want that so bad. I mean, seriously, it's like to be able to hear instruments like that, played outside with the kind of production level that's going to be there, and the kind of sensitivity that the musicians can bring to that, you cannot fake that. You can't see that online. There's no social media anywhere that can do that, and so I'm just.
You made a statement a while back about art, creating art, and how this whole thing works. Can you?
Stories that tell stories.
Yeah.
It's just.
Right.
I don't think.
You make an instrument, that's one part of the art, and then the musician makes another piece of art with the musical instrument. I think that's what makes this really, really fun to be a
By the way,
instrument maker.
if everyone can get really quiet for just a second, you can hear Bill Ransom's kinetic sculpture making sound. So just for a moment.
Well, you might have to come back.
You hear that low tone? I can hear it. It's a low tone. It's lower than everything else that's going on. Anyway, it's there. Trust me.
And Brian told us if you stand in between these two, then you actually will have a beta wave and you can retune your brain. That's what he told us last night.
I could use a little of that.
So you're in a good spot.
So that's what's happening right now. You didn't know that.
That part we are taking donations up front. I also wanted to say, you know, I mean, you guys are great and everything, but it's the artists that made the work for this show that really count, and I think most of them are here tonight. So look for the name tags. Let's have a hands here in the room, artists. Get a hand for those guys.